Hello and welcome to another model building workshop. I'm Mr. Allen. I'm coming to you from my basement workshop here in Providence, Rhode Island, on behalf of the Community Libraries of Providence. And today we're going to be talking about a really old kit, at least old for my collection, is this Airfix 72nd scale Junkers Ju 87B Stuka kit. Now, this particular boxing, according to ScaleMates, is from 1963, but it looks like the molds have been around since 1959. So, yeah, this is an oldie. But is it a goodie? Well, that's a good question, and that's something we're going to look at today on the Model Building Workshop. I've got a assembled one here. I got a couple just for comparison, but I've got one here. I can find a easy way of handling this. Some of this is a little fiddly, and this was something I built quite a long time ago. And when you find these old kits, even a long time ago, the decals were shot. So I ended up grabbing some decals from my spares parts box, and yeah, and this is back when I think I was a teenager when I put this together. Maybe college. I don't think I'm a teen when I did this. It's been around a while, and I kind of like it for the fact that it's a really old kit, and it's got some serious issues which we're going to talk about. So, and one of them, and for me, was the fact that the decals are terrible. So, I grabbed. I think these are Heller decals. That's what they look like. The Heller Romanian decals, which, well, they have issues too, because it's not exactly what the border on these St. Michael's Cross emblems would look like. But anyway, this was my attempt to make something out of this venerable model kit. Although I think the blue I use is a tad dark. And it might have had a splinter camouflage on top. Hard to know. But that was my go at this. So you can see it's a pretty ancient box. On the side, it's got a list of all of the other kits that they were making at the time. Quite a few there. On the side has the 109G and a Mustang. I think that 109G, that old kit, tends to pop up from time to time. And I built that too. And it also has some issues as well. But I mean, it's an old kit, so how fussy can I really be with it? So, and this is typically what you got in the box or in the bag, depending on which variant you bought. What time frame you were in. But here's your wings, and the fit is actually pretty decent, for that. The other set of wings here. So that's one of the pros here, is that these parts go together okay. But there are some issues because the details are very, very soft. You've got the two pilot figures, well, such as they are, and the landing gear. Granted, this is a fixed landing gear plane, the Stuka, but there's nothing to assemble on the landing gear. It's just the right and the left one. They're already done. They're very narrow. There's no real detail to them. They're just there. The pilots, well, I mean, you got two arms, two legs, and a head. I guess you're doing something. The bomb is adequate. The machine gun is adequate. The tail wheel isn't too bad, but... And here's your fuselage half. So, yeah, the details are very soft. The exhaust pipes are built in. But one of the worst things about this kit was that the radiator on the front, if you can see that, Well, there is no radiator. It's just a flat. There's no detail at all to it. I mean, that's it in the front right there. That's what you get. You know, you got your propeller, you have your flaps. It does come with a stand. You know, typical of these old Airfix kits. And you have your stabilizers and your greenhouse style canopy here. And in this box, I'm not going to show you, but there's, well, maybe I can. Like you can see it. There's all crumbled remnants of the decals sitting in there. All shattered, miserable wrecks of decals are in there. And well, that's how that went. So this one I just painted black to make it appear that it has a radiator there. And it's kind of a shame because the Stuka's got a really interesting, I mean the Type B has a really interesting radiator in the front. And the back here, you can see on the stabilizers, there's very, very pronounced ejector pin marks on those parts. Apparently at that age, I didn't really notice or pay attention to those things when I was building them. And didn't bother to fill them in. You know, the bomb and the cradle are also really pretty miserable. And as you can see here in the assembled version, that the landing gear are obviously really, really thin because there's no depth to it. It's just a single piece for each one. There's no separate wheel. There's no left and right spat to put on there, you know, pieces. So it's just, it is what it is, basically. The assembly instructions, which actually are in pretty good shape considering the age of this, huh? That's not bad. So it hasn't really seen much sunlight. It's the old style instruction sheets that had lots and lots of text as to how to build this. Lots of reading to do. Well, not really by librarian standard, but still, you know what I mean. And it shows the decals in place in the last diagram there. So there's not a lot to do, but the way this instruction sheet is set up, with only like what 3 steps, it's a bit busy. I mean, if they had a second page to add to this, you know, or you know, another make another sheet here, you probably could have benefited from having this step, well, explained a little bit more. But then there's not really much to do. I mean, this is an old Airfix kit where you just sit the crew members on the pegs, and then you stick the gun just magically onto the window, and that's that. And the bomb just fits on these two, oops, I had that together. I mean, it's nice that it fits together so well that it was actually staying in place for me. But you put the bomb, it just sits on those two little tabs there, pins, sorry, and that's that. And you put this, I think there's a piece to make it look like a cradle. Or maybe not. I mean, they have these pretty sorry attempts at dive brakes here. There's your bomb. There's the support struts for the stabilizers. Maybe there isn't anything for the... It looks like I added to this kit, it looks like I put on a bomb cradle that was not with the kit. At least I figured that out. Because it doesn't... Yeah, because there isn't one. Yeah, so I attempted to make it look a little bit better by grabbing one off some other model from the spares box. And also you got that hole there, the slot there where the stand was supposed to go, which I didn't cover up. So I made an attempt to try to convince people from a distance that this was not a bad looking kit. But hey, and it's interesting because Airfix has gone on to make some pretty great Stuka kits. And this was the, here's one here. I'm not completely sure of the validity of this paint scheme at this point. I guess I'd have to go back to my sources. But here's a later one they did in the 70s, and I have it done in Hungarian markings. I'm not sure when I built that. It looks like it was brush painted. So I'm going to guess, I think I got an airbrush in college. This is probably high school when I put this together, my guess. So snazzy Hungarian markings. I'm going to check a book if it's here. No, I don't have it with me. Anyway, because I think I could probably find the profile, the color profile I was working out of from one of the books I've got. But anyhow, it's neither here nor there whether that's legit, but I think that was based on a piece of artwork I was looking at. And here we have a lighter blue. But you can see, all right, there's the bomb cradle, which I may have grabbed the other cradle off one of these kits for the other plane. I'm not entirely sure. It looks that way. But this is the 1970s kit that Airfix put out of the Stuka. It's the B/R version, and the R being the long range version that had the extra wing tanks on there for longer distances. I know these are used by other countries like Hungary, and Italy had some of these as well. But you can tell, I mean, looking at these two kits, there's just no comparison in the level of detail on these. I mean, even the profile, you can see that there's a lot more going on in the later kit. And it makes sense, because this is, would have been almost 20 years maybe later in the 70s. Not completely sure. I should have looked this one up. That's the one this one actually came out. 70s anyway. And that one, like I said, originally this molding was from 59. So, I mean, obviously there should be a pretty large jump in the molding process here. So that's a later one. And of course they've got some out now that are pretty nice too. Although whether it's the same, this kit still, I'm not completely sure. But this kit's pretty nice. And there is something of a radiator in there. You can see that. It's got some detail in there. So there's a compare and contrast of two types of Airfix Stukas. Ancient and not quite so ancient. And that is today's Model Building Workshop. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.